So welcome to Cool Music 99. We talk about music, we talk about, we give music lessons, we talk about, life in China in general. So please consider subscribing our channel. In that case, you won't miss out. So I'm your host, Yan. This is my friend, Daniel. How musicians survive in Beijing. I mean, it's a very harsh environment, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, people, not only musicians, people live in a big city like Beijing, where, any big cities in any country, it just takes courage, takes like hard work, struggles and hassles, stuff like that, to really maintain such a lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah, well, Beijing's a big city, and so is New York. I'm from New York, but New York actually everything's very close together.
That's it.
In Manhattan, it's a very narrow island, and the only way to build is spans.
Exactly.
Land.
Yeah, Beijing is super big. We just like
So
decentralized in
just
places.
Get
Yeah,
into anywhere. Like if you have a gig on the other side, have a visa in order to do it, right?
exactly.
So you gotta lock something down, and you can get a visa to do music. I have friends that are music teachers, and they actually make a lot of money.
Wow.
It's actually a rather lucrative job. To they teach middle school, and stuff.
Like teach music
Yeah, they teach music
in China?
in China.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
they're
yeah, that's
from they're from foreign Western countries.
I mean, yeah,
They get a very good salary.
that's what we got. I mean, especially if you are in the music industry, I mean, being a teacher who teaches music is also part of the game. I mean,
You got to manage a lot of kids.
yeah, a lot of kids. Yeah, it takes a
You're
lot of
teaching
patience.
kids a lot of instruments.
Exactly.
Right? It's like all music, right?
Yeah.
You're teaching drums, guitar, piano, violin. You're managing them all, and yeah. So I can imagine.
Income could be more stable
Yeah.
rather than on-road musicians. I mean, for example, especially in Beijing, the music scene was not quite as big as America, but still places you can be, to make some money. I mean, we talked about what the music scene used to be out here in Beijing. So we used to have, like the clubs decentralized in different locations. For example, you got like 13 Club in Wudalco on D22, yeah, those collegas, Mao Lab House, and some other smaller venues where people might play electronic music and stuff like that. You got Dada, you got Tempo too in Gulou.
There's so many places.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah, there's been a lot of hot spots over the years.
exactly.
But definitely, like any city, things.
Things
don't
are
last
evolving.
forever.
Yeah, you're right.
Management changes.
Exactly.
Laws change.
Yeah, I mean the pandemic changes whole a lot.
Pandemic changes,
Everything, yeah.
Things.
In terms of pandemic, recently I've been reading a biography written by a favorite musician of mine. His name is Mark Hoppus. Do you know he's a bassist? He's the bass player of Blink-182.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and he also talked about the pandemic affected how his music career is. I mean, just like those, hardworking musicians like us. Like the pandemic made all of us staying at home, with no gigs to play, with no places to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the things. I mean, it could be. I mean, as a musician, it's not that. It's pretty hard, especially when things are getting hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think being a musician anywhere, or an artist, any type of artist, we talk about starving artists. They have the moniker for a reason. So it's not any easier here. But actually, if you're playing gigs, you can make some pretty good money.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So there's a lot of demand for foreign bands, and you do stuff like you do in other cities. You can play weddings and stuff, and there's a lot of formal events. Hotels want stuff. That's not really always the most artistic music, right? Sometimes they just want
Yeah,
standard
copy songs,
jazz
standard copy
and
songs,
stuff
jazz
like
or
that.
stuff like that. Yeah.
But yeah, here downtown, there's venues where people are extremely artistic.
That's for sure. Yeah.
That's one thing. That's where Beijing, or I should say Chinese music scene, differs a little bit from foreign scenes. There's not as much mainstream stuff here, but there's a lot of down to the ground
Musicians. Yeah, artists.
small followings.
Yeah, with
But
small
they're-
followings.
they're
Yeah.
very creative, and it's a really cool scene. And they don't make waves internationally.
You're right.
And a lot of people that are making waves internationally don't make waves here. So it's kind of a little bit isolated, or maybe a better word would be insulated.
Insulated. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff here. I mean, pretty much any night of the week you can find a really interesting show. There's places places for experiment. I love experimental music. Really weird stuff,
Yeah.
playing with technology, and you can find venues that have regularly showcase experimental music.
Wow.
But there's a ton of indie folk and indie rock, and then there's a lot really good heavy metal scene, like hardcore metal, like metalcore and death metal and stuff like that, and a really good punk scene. And these are intercity scenes. It's
Wow.
not just Beijing.
You're right.
There's a community of people throughout China that are traveling, doing gigs, going, in the same social media groups, Chinese social media, not really foreign social media. But yeah, it's definitely pretty dug in here. It's good.
Yeah, that's what we're welcoming. We're welcoming the world. If you're thinking about, make a move to China, no matter you're a musician. So we're welcoming to come to China, to Beijing or Shanghai, any places like this. I mean, you might not be able to make it in a day or two, but there's still tons of opportunities to get better. To evolve yourself as a human being. I mean, like Daniel used to just said. So you might not be able to make so big. Your waves might not be too big, but still good life out here in Beijing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Daily life here is definitely safe and pretty enjoyable. Obviously it's a little bit easier if you speak the language, but at this point, everyone's got a phone. People use their translators and stuff. My Chinese is pretty good, so it's a little bit easier for me. But yeah, but
So
like
we can
I said
talk.
before. You want to have, you don't just want to show up and be playing gigs. You got to be locked down with some sort of visa or something.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Because
that's something I want to
otherwise,
mention. Yeah, it's not.
you might find
If you got tourist visa, it might not work. It might not work for a longer period of
for-
times.
Well, it might not work for accepting money.
Exactly. Exactly.
They're not going to like you making money on a tourist visa.
Yeah, the policy from the government is very straight up. It's straightforward. Yeah, it's not a whole lot of negotiations within that. Yeah, on that.
And it is possible to get a visa for a music job, but especially a music teacher. But other than that, it's a little bit tricky. So yeah, that's just one thing to watch out for. But yeah, there's lots of foreign bands and a lot of foreign DJs too. We didn't mention that. There's a big electronic scene.
Wow.
I mean, there are festivals here with 10,000 people at them, with a lot of international DJs.